We back up.
Hey, Red Goose got me loose. Go on patrol. Money in my pocket and I'm all up in the zone. Live.
So How to Train Your Dragon is definitely one of those franchises you can make a lot of things out of it. Spin-off series, and yeah, okay, they did. Race to the Edge and Defenders of Berk. All right, those were phenomenal. But I actually think that they could have had a bit more here, especially if they reached out to other franchises and tried to cross over. They can even make their own lore with the dragons. All right, they even do. They have data and lore behind some of these dragons here. But what if we had one of the biggest dragons from Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit franchise, right? What if we had Encalagon the Black Dread, a dragon bigger than 3 mountains? So this is Legendary Ghidorah, and let's begin here. So it's easy to say that Encalagon would classify as a legendary dragon. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Encalagon belongs in the legend class of dragons here. Now, where would he tier? Now, where would he fit here? Now, there have been dragons like the Screaming Death who, have been able to level entire islands like they're nothing. The Great Death would be around, city level, okay? Maybe even possibly stronger than the Screaming Death. So again, it would be an island level threat here. Maybe even a country. You probably say state level as well. If it's above island level, you could definitely say it's state level. There's the Purple Death, who I made a whole video about. I actually put that thing around continental, considering it could cause sea quakes and shift tectonic plates pretty easily. So yeah. Now, Encalagon has so much lore behind him that it's been ridiculous, all right? For one, you could put him at star level. The other one has him at planetary. Then the lower end has him at, like, continent to multi-continental. All right? So for this one, we're going to say he's multi-continental, right? That puts him above a plethora of dragons here. That even puts him above the Purple Death as a whole, all right? He's definitely going to be slapping the Purple Death any time of the week here. There's literally no ifs, ands, or buts about it here. But you guys get it. There are dragons like the Shellfire and Submaripper, some of the toughest dragons out there, but yet they can't compare to the Bewilderbeast. It'll be the same with, the Forever Wing and the Purple Death, who are superior to the Bewilderbeast and the Great Death. They simply don't match up against Encalagon. All right? Now, in terms of rivalry, there would probably have to be a dragon out there to rival Encalagon in strength and power. Basically a natural rival of himself, right? I mean, dragons like the Submaripper are a match for the Shellfire, right? It's ridiculous as a whole how strong and how these dragons each balance each other out as a whole here. But without further ado, let's get into the story here. This would be like an extra season to Race to the Edge here, where Hiccup, I would believe, accidentally drops the Dragon Eye over some fire, and then he gets a new lens here where it shows that, there's a dragon out there that they couldn't discover because they only thought they needed dragon fire. But yet natural fire exposes a dragon far bigger, far more, larger than anything. Now, on this island that they go to, I would actually introduce Death Grippers. Now, Death Grippers were a one and done thing, but yet they were super cool. Eruptodons were like, yeah, they were like appeared 2 or 3 times in the series. They were casually able to cause volcanic level disruptions, definitely making them around, island level, considering they can basically eat through the crust of volcanoes and cause volcanic eruptions. So I would have them a bit more common on this island. And the occasional Whispering Death, so they have a dragon that they're familiar with and that they can handle. So lost my train of thought there. So how would the Dragon Riders basically, discover Encalagon? Well, I do believe Hiccup would put two and two together, and then, he would probably say they're in the mountain. It would be like something like he's talking to Astrid, Snotlout, and Fish Legs, and then Rough and Tough, basically going to mess with the volcano, trying to make it erupt a bit, but they end up hitting one of Encalagon's horns, causing him to wake up. This caused him to wake up, burst through the volcano, and then everyone has to flee. The dragons from the island flee to wherever they feel like going. This is how Grimmel would basically get his Death Grippers because, they had to flee for their lives, and he was able to capture them at least, right? So basically, these dragons will be fleeing from their lives, and the dragon riders would be fleeing for their lives. And then Caligon would basically destroy the whole island. You want me to give it the size of an island? Let's say the island's about the size of Australia. Smallest continent, but still, it would be an impressive feat if someone or something was able to destroy that just by waking up and flexing his muscle. I would then have a fight between the Dragon Riders and the Caligon, where the Dragon Riders realize they are just completely outmatched, and the Caligon hasn't even used his fire breath. He simply flaps his wings and boom, done. Yeah, they're not winning that one. He just flaps his wings and it's just over. They try their hardest. He doesn't even bother them. So this is when Encalagon actually goes on a rampage. We hear his stomach grumble, and he would try to snatch up whatever fish he can. He would snatch up the whale-sized thunder drums. If you guys haven't known, thunder drums can actually grow to the size of whales. The one we see that Stoic and, Thornado actually are able to, Stoic's Thornado was actually just, basically a, you could say a juvenile. Yeah, basically that. He would be a juvenile. So, yeah, they're just ridiculous, all right? So Encalagon would basically land on Berserker Island trying to find a Bewilderbeast. This means he would eat other dragons. And the biggest of dragons would be the Bewilderbeast. So we're having Encalagon tear through the Berserker Mountain with ease, with Dagger and Heather trying to prevent that with their dragons, trying to use the triple strike sting, triple strikes sting, to try and, phase Encalagon, but it doesn't even get through his skin here. He would then proceed to burn the Bewilderbeast to a crisp, and with one bite and pull, rip the flesh and meat off of the bone, like so clean. Like it would be a clean rip, clean peel, basically. You know how like you get that tender rib, right, where the meat just falls off the bone? Basically like that. He would eat the Bewilderbeast, cook them just like that with one blast, and it be done. All right. So then Encalagon would feel, basically, it would be full from that. I mean, eating whale-sized thunder drums, they would probably be about the size of humpbacks or maybe even blue whales. You never know. I mean, these dragons are just huge sometimes. So Heather and Dagger would be joining the Dragon Riders on this one because, one, Dagger needs to see what kind of dragon is even capable of killing a Bewilderbeast, and Heather's pretty much tagging along for the ride because, well, we'll just say Astrid convinces her to come along on this suicidal mission, to which she gives her, that look like, I can't believe I'm actually just getting talked into this, but okay. So they would go to Outcast Island, where they would actually see Encalagon basically manhandling the Purple Death just out of sheer spite. All right? Basically, the guy's woken up and he needs an exercise. The Purple Death will put up a pretty formidable fight, at least knocking Encalagon back a couple. I don't even want to think how long his step would even be right now because it'd be ridiculous. Like Godzilla moves an inch, he basically takes a whole football field, okay? Basically, it would be something like that, except it probably would be like a mile with a single step here. So yeah, he basically sends Encalagon 1 mile footstep back. Encalagon, then proceeds to beat the living daylights out of the Purple Death, but doesn't kill her. All right. So honestly, Yeah, and Caligon goes for a whirl here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to enter the fanfic territory here, and I really don't know how the franchise will write him. There'd be no way to write him as, a way for Hiccup and Toothless to beat him, because there wouldn't be a way to beat him. It's a dragon that's literally enhanced by this divine magic here of Morgoth. So here's what I would do. He's a magical dragon, right? He should be able to turn human. Simple as that. Turns into a fine-looking specimen, all right? He turns into a human dragon. Muscular, tough, handsome, and he has his own clothes. So there's a benefit, all right? He has his own clothes. Name myself Legendary. Why are you doing this? Well, for one, I feel like How to Train Your Dragon actually wanted to explore the route of Norse gods. Now, I felt like they should have did that for maybe another movie, okay? I really felt like they should have explored it for another movie. Because here's the thing. The Bone Napper with Gobbert had to be true. I really don't think there's another way for that to be true here. You might say, Legendary, are you serious? You think the Hammerhead Whale and Hammerhead Yak were real? We're in a franchise where there are legit snake dragons here that are immune to Death Song Amber. I think we can go that possibility here. We have dragons that could basically be covered the mythos as titans. And the titans and gods would have fought each other, all right? They could have been caused as giants back in the day, all right? They could have been the giants, and then every other dragon would basically be like what? The dwarves, basically? Like, you guys understand, right? These dragons have so much mythology behind them, you don't know if it's true or not. So here's how I would do it. And Caligon turns human. Toothless, with a pretty tactical mind here, blasts Caligon and paralyzes him. Blasts him in the chest and hits him in the nerve where he basically can't move. The riders take him back to Dragon's Edge where Heather and Astrid interrogate him. All right, they try to interrogate him the best he can here, but due to his personality, I would actually have to say Caligon has a charismatic yet stubborn / aggressive personality, but he can be playful. It's just not as much as people like, much as people think here. This is a dragon that was basically bred for war here. He would have a playful personality, but there's more aggression and melancholy there, all right? Monotone, basically, right? So that happens, and he tells him that you should let him go because the gods are going to come for him one way or another. So the gods show up at Berk, all right? The gods show up at Berk as, well, why not? It's one of the civilizations that's really not, crippled or crumbled right now in dealing with their own mess, right? So Heimdall would show up with Tyr. Now, you might say, oh, so this means Fenrir Wolf is in the franchise. No, I would actually say the hand gets bitten off by Caligon, which is one of the reasons why he ends up in the volcano. Tyr will be hell-bent on pretty much getting revenge for his hand here, not really, wanting the sacrifice the gods of Asgard wanted. They beat the living mess out of the Dragon Riders and nearly beat every dragon on the island. Heather is the one to go and get Caligon and tells him, tells him of the gods coming to the island. He comes back, beats them both, kills them both, and tears Heimdall's eyes out in a brutal fashion and rips both of Tyr's arms off in a brutal fashion. The rest of the franchise will go as Heather and Caligon and Fish Lakes will have a love triangle, with Heather actually falling in love with Caligon more than she did with Fish Lakes, as she is more... I do think Caligon would have a more similar personality to Heather in a way, as they both would have had that personality where they both been living alone and they both been, hurt by the people closest to them. Then, that sort of thing kind of happens. Then they get into a fight with another Aesir god. I would probably say Magni and Modi. All right, I think that would be a good one. Fish Legs tries his best, gets swatted aside by Modi pretty casually, and Magnus is about to kill Heather. And Caligon comes along, beats the mess out of him, and says he thinks it's time to work the World Serpent. So this makes, Heather and him will probably get their first kiss after the Magni and Modi fight right there. And that would pretty much confirm their relationship, making Fish Legs all the more sad. Balder would come in and basically be a good long franchise type of villain here. And I think he would be like, maybe 3 to 5 episodes on how to deal with Balder's invulnerability. Excuse me. And then Caligon and Jormungandr eventually kill him. This is when they're introduced to Loki, who Rough and Tough Nut would praise here. All right, won't really get into detail, but a lot of pranks are going to happen while Loki is trying to prepare them for Ragnarok. I think that's pretty simple, and it's pretty easy to explain here. I don't really even need to think of the kind of pranks that Rough and Tough Nut would basically be doing, because it's absolutely ridiculous, the pranks they do anyway. Like, you have yourself with a dragon just about to fly up and just drop you in the middle of the water as a prank. Be absolutely ridiculous. So the Battle of Ragnarok would have Thor against Jormungandr, Loki against Freya. Okay, we'll have Freya this time. All right, we'll have Loki against Freya. Want revenge for her son, Balder. And then we have Caligon versus Odin. This would be a heartfelt battle, and definitely a long fought battle, as Caligon basically will call all the other dragons to basically fight against the Aesir, and that would basically equalize the army of Asgardians they have here. Okay, so then a fight would pretty much go as Odin gets the upper hand on Caligon, and Caligon actually thanks him for the curse he gave him, turns into his full dragon form, kills Odin. Now, how does he change the franchise as a whole, right? Sorry if I'm going a little too fast here. We're actually going to go into how he changes the other movies as a whole here. Now, in terms of his story, he would actually be engaged to Heather at this point, and I actually think he and Heather would move on Berk, leaving Dagger and, his wife, the Defenders of the Wing, basically to live out their lives separately, while Heather and Astrid both get to, hang out with each other more. And this means Caligon and Hiccup hang out with each other more, while, he's having to deal with chief type duties. And I think they would become friends because Caligon is helping him a lot more. So the story with Drago goes the same. The story of Valka goes the same here, except when we get to the final battle. All right, with Caligon on the field, a lot of things go smoother and a lot of things go easier. With Caligon tearing through the ships and everything, I think Drago would eventually notice this and try to see what the heck is going on here, but he wouldn't be able to, as a human Caligon would basically be moving fast as a speed stinger with the full force of a speed of a speed stinger. Now imagine being hit with a dragon that has with a person that has the speed of a speed stinger behind them, but yet the full might, still stronger than a bewildered beast. Okay, as strong as a Forever Wing. We'll put him at that level. He's Forever Wing level at his human form here. So, fight goes on, people win, and Stoic doesn't die, okay? So, How to Train Dragon 3. How does the hidden world actually change here? Well, Heather and Caligon will be married at this point, and Hiccup and Astrid would be on their way at that point here. So, everyone would have their armor except for Caligon, all right? Heather would have hers, with her razor whip. Okay. So, basically everything would happen there. And Grimmel would be handled a bit differently. Nah, I'm not gonna lie. Grimmel would get manhandled super quick here. And Caligon's presence would definitely make the Death Grippers, basically shudder in fear of him. And that's how he would tame the Death Grippers. And then Grimmel would try to get away, only to be hunted down and executed by his own Death Grippers. This gives Encaligon a dragon, meaning he doesn't have to transform every now and again, and he gets his own armor based off the Death Grippers scales. Okay? Basically, How to Train Your Dragon 3 goes a lot better. As for the rest of the dragon hunters or the rest of the people who want to control the dragons, they get found out, and I do think Encaligon handles it himself, giving Hiccup a break here and absolutely incinerating everyone in there, freeing the dragons and letting them go freely. So, at this point here, a wedding would happen between Hiccup and Astrid a lot earlier in the story. This means everyone pretty much gets a whole happy ending here, and everyone gets a pleasant, decent life to live on Berk with their dragons, including Toothless and the Light Fury, okay? So, yeah, that'll pretty much be here. As for How to Train Your Dragon 4 here, yeah, they'll basically be dealing with a dragon that Encaligon needs help to beat here. Maybe Dalmador or something like that would be a decent matchup here. So, yeah, I actually think that would be pretty great, and I think that would be pretty much it here. So Encaligon can turn the franchise up and down in so many ways here, even crossing into the fanfic for territory. He actually saves a lot of lives and actually improves a lot of lives as well. But at the end of the day, he would still be an unstoppable force and would not be beaten by any dragon by any means here. So this is Legendary Ghidorah. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and share it with your friends. And I hope to see you guys for the Ghidorah part of this story. Peace.